I'm great, teacher. All good, thank you.
Very nice. How is the work going?
What's good, teacher? I've been a little bit busy because, well, a part of the work, I imagine that you have seen that I'm posting my new tour to Six Flags, and it has been a little bit more difficult in comparison with the last year. The last year was, uh, I would say, easier. And yeah, I'm focused a good amount of time in that, and yeah, we are doing this, teacher. But everything good, thank you. And you?
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, no, everything's been great. Thanks with the new teacher in the doctoral degree. It's been a lot of fun talking with him because he's a very smart and receptive person, and he also likes to discuss things with various perspectives. He recently gave us a movie, which is a great movie. The name is Metropolis. I don't know if you've seen it. It's an old movie, but it's great.
Metropolis?
Metropolis. I'll send you the link. It's old, but it's a fantastic movie. It's very symbolic, but I would say that it resembles current situations of the work environment in which, according to this movie, there is a corporate staff in the world, overground world, and then there is an underground in this company that nobody sees, which are the workers working 10 hours, having no consideration for the owner. Uh, they call us a subterfuge, an underworld, underground, and this is invisible. So it's a constant struggle between the both worlds, and it's really, really difficult for them to survive even. And
Mm.
but then the son of the owner notices that this world exists, and so he tries to kind of fix it, or yeah. And so he starts struggling for the masses, for the people, right?
Yeah.
It's very interesting, and I just sent you the. I think I did. I think I sent you the link to the movie. Let me see. Yeah, I sent it to you. Oh no, it didn't go. Yeah, I just sent it to you. When you have an opportunity, you may wish to give a look at this movie. It's old, symbolic, but it's very nice. And then it includes the
Thank you.
Ninth Symphony of Beethoven as the
Mm.
background music. And
Yeah.
you remember the Ode of Schiller, in which he says that all the brothers will be, all the people will be brothers again.
Mm-hmm.
He talks in favor of fraternity. So that's more or less the message of the movie. That despite being in the governing class or in the workers section, you still
Mm-hmm.
have the opportunity and the need to be brothers with other people. That way you will maintain the corporation. It's a very beautiful movie. It's very
Okay.
symbolic.
Yeah, I was looking more information about this movie. And yeah, it is a German movie, right?
It is a German movie from the 20s.
Yeah, 1927.
Yeah, almost 100 years old. And you would
Yeah.
see that the situation is still prevailing. I mean, this struggle between the dominant class and the workers' class
Mm-hmm.
still is there, right? I don't think it has been solved. What do you think?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, you have been auditing companies, and I'm sure that you notice, I don't want to say antagonism, but it's a clear distinction between the ruling class and the workers, right? What do you see?
Yeah. Yeah, it is true. Mm. For example, I have seen cases where the place where the normal workers eat, for example, is other place in comparison with the directors or the, uh, like the mm, high places could be. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
The high position, sorry.
Okay.
So starting from that, I think that mm, I don't consider that it's okay.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. When I was answering the question from the teacher about this movie, one of the questions was a very good question, actually. He says, "Is it possible to design a city a corporation, a place in which there is no distinction for the upper, middle, and lower class, in which everyone can share time and spend time together, change values, exchange values, I'm sorry, discuss things in the same environment, in the same atmosphere, or there should be, like there is now, a segregation depending on class, right? So I say to the teacher, Soriana for the rich, Soriana for the poor, Walmart for the rich, Walmart for the poor,
Yeah.
clusters for the rich. How could that be? Or maybe it's necessary. What do you think?
Um, I don't know if it is necessary, but yeah, it's a reality. As you mentioned, the cases with the different supermarkets, probably it's a same company but divided in different, like, I don't know if it's correct to say, levels, but yeah, um, it is so interesting. I haven't think about it since now about if it is necessary to have the different levels. But in reality, is that at the end, not all people can afford, for example, the products of the gourmet section of the Walmart for the rich, for the rich people. So I don't know. I don't know. At the end, I think that the poor people, if it's correct to say that they can go to those places too, but probably they're not gonna purchase nothing for the excessive prices.
Yeah.
But something is true, and is that in occasions the rich people, when they see someone that probably don't belongs to their group, normally that people is more, how can I say it, like, in a way they reject it. I think so.
Yeah, they reject them.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And that is, I don't want to say good or bad, but it is common. That happens. In social groups, the same. If you're in the school, if you go, well, you went to college and now you're in the master's degree, I don't think that it is so noticeable in the master's degree, the upper levels. But if you see, if maybe you saw it in prepa, right? The club of the pretty girls, the rich girls, the smart boys, the funny boys, the sportsmen. I mean, there are groups. Sometimes they intertwine. What do you think about that? What did you see when you were in school or in college?
Yeah, of course. There were groups for everything, for like the sport people, the in a way, like the funny people, the girls that were prettier than the others. But yeah, there were groups of everything, and actually in the master's degree, is something that is still happening, and it surprised me a little bit because I would imagine that a group with, you know, there are people from. I think the youngest of all my group. I'm 23, but there are people for probably they have 55, 60 years old. So there's a good range of ages, and in a way, yeah, they normally, when they are works in group, they have like their own group, like the people from that age, and then the people from my age. So yeah, groups always exist, and unfortunately, I consider that groups are still existing for a long, long period of time.
No, biologically, I think there is a reason to form groups. I mean, you share the ideas with people who are similar to you in a way, or similar to us in a way, right?
Hmm.
The funny situation, or the interesting situation, to me at least, is that some of these groups intertwine. And then you're in the group of the good students, and then you go to the group of the sportsmen guys, and then you go to the group of the people who like to study. So it looks like, at least to me, it looks like we are commuting from one group to the other constantly. Sometimes it is very subtle. Moreover, it is invisible. People don't notice that you were in the group of the people who love music, and now you're in the group of the businessmen and now you're in the group of people who love the society, and sometimes it's not totally evident, don't you think?
Yeah, I think in occasions, as you mentioned, without noticing, you are part from a group because probably you feel like, in a way, like identification with that people, you know?
Yeah, you identify yourself with them, yeah, of course.
Yeah. But I think that the issues in occasions is that, uh, for example, I have seen this in the master's degree. The older people in the group, uh, in a way, they feel like, I can see it like that, like better than the other groups. For example, I have seen that with the other group and my group, probably because they have like the experience in work. But for example, I have talked with them, and when I talk about technology, they don't know how to link a WhatsApp group to the computer, for example. So in a way, I think that uh, it's okay to be part of a group, but in occasions, we need to be like more open to other perspectives and ideas, and not just close in your group, and just because you feel safe there, continues there if you see that something probably is not totally correct.
Well, yeah, let's admit that it is true. It is true. Sometimes we have our airs of self-sufficiency. We think that we're superior to the others, either because we're more experienced, or when I was younger, I thought that I was younger. And in both cases, it's true. So this feeling of pride is prevailing, and not necessarily bad, right? I mean, both groups are telling the truth. One group is saying, I have a little bit more experience because I have worked 10, 20, 25, 30 years, and it's true. And the other group are saying, well, I am a bit more energetic because I'm in my 20s, in my 30s. And they're both saying the truth, right? Telling the truth.
Yeah,
And it doesn't have to create a conflict. But let me ask you something, Mickey. Let's say that the new governor gets a bit romantic. And she says, Mickey, I want to design a city, or I want to design a club in which people from various social stratus commute and spend time together. How would you do that design? I mean, that's kind of some type of question, right?
yeah, of different groups. Mm, well, as you mentioned, it's like a romantic idea, but at the end, uh, normally the different groups, when they are not like in a way like interconnected, there are like this mm, rejection from one group to the others and vice versa. I think so. For example, I have seen cases where one group criticize one the other and vice versa. So at the end, I consider that it's difficult. Probably it's not impossible, but it's like everything a process, and it's um, something that requires a lot of time and the effort of both parts.
Okay. Yeah, this is connected with the theory of groups, and they reject one another for a variety of social and psychological reasons, cultural reasons. And I don't know if that is good or bad, but that happens. Let me show you a little text which more or less tries to explain the group dynamics.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if that should be bad. I mean, you want to create your own identity, and you said that a while ago, and I
Mhm.
totally agree. I mean, you cannot be part of the old people. Oh, Mickey is now a member of the group of the oldies. How can that be if you're young, right? So, yeah, let's see. There is this text. I don't know. what if you can read it and then we discuss it for a second, please, Mickey?
Yes, sure. Groups often reject one another for a variety of social, psychological, and cultural reasons, which are deeply rooted in identity, power dynamics, competition, and fear of the unknown. Several social theories help explain why groups reject one another, offering insights into the underlying mechanisms that drive intergroup conflict, exclusion, or discrimination. Below are key reasons for group rejection and the relevant theories of groups that shed light on this phenomenon.
Yeah. Why do you think groups reject one another other than psychological reasons? In other words, yeah, it is true that the group of the young will more or less reject the group of the oldies, or the group of the rich will reject the group of the poor, or the group of the smart will reject the group of the dumb, right?
Yeah.
uh, what's the biological relevance of this? I mean, there must be a need since this happens. I mean, some animals get together in groups, they hunt in groups. Why would you think would be the biological relevance or the social relevance of this?
I think that is for um, probably with for the not fear. I don't know what word can I use, but like the fear that that person change like the dynamics of the group that could affect the dynamic of the group. For example, I have seen those cases in animals that where an animal don't belong to that group. Normally, all the group reject that animal probably because it's for another race, it's another animal, and in occasion they attacked that animal because just is not for the group or is not part of the group. Sorry. Mm, Probably because they feel that uh, that person um, doesn't identify with the rest of the group. Could be.
Yeah, that makes total sense. It changes the dynamics of the group. I like that phrase very much. Listen, let's take the group of the youngsters. They are very young, dynamic, energetic, creative, not extremely orderly. So they want to have this diversity, creativity, and flexibility. And let's say that the old man or the old woman wants to be part of the group. And they say, "Oh, now we're going to be a bit more slow or much slower, right?
Yeah.
Now we're going to have to abide to certain rules and discipline. Now we're going to be under observation, maybe under moral judgment." So they say, no. It's like when you play with your friends or I play with my friends. And then my mom says, hey, I want to be there. I said, Mom, you play with the oldies, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So it makes total logical sense what you say that it changes the dynamics in a way. But how can you profit and maybe changing the dynamics can be something beneficial? Let's say there is a gang of young thieves. They operate in a neighborhood and they rob cars, bicycles. They rob the trespassers, people who are walking by, and they say, "Okay, give me the wallet." Jeez. But then there is the addition of a new person who maybe is a police in disguise, right? He's a police or she's a police, but the guys don't know. And so he tries to enter the group and this, oh, this guy, we don't need this guy. And he thinks that is necessary to change the dynamics of the group. Maybe he was a counselor, maybe he's a priest. He wants to do something which he considers good, and he wants to change the dynamics of the group, right? So he says, well, I want to give you a new task. Rather than stealing, let's wash cars. And says, washing cars? Well, yeah, it can be fun. You do exercise, you make some legal money. Maybe you get some friends. You're not more anymore under the threat of retaliation or revenge. from the trespassers. Maybe one day, remember 2 weeks ago, that trespassers pull out a gun and kill Juanito, right? Well, we don't want more casualties. Let's change the dynamics. It sounds easy, sounds a bit romantic, but taking it in a little less extreme case, maybe in politics, in business, how would you do that, Mickey? Introduce a new member into the group that is not part of the group and change the dynamics.
Yeah, I would say that at the beginning, the new member or the member that wants to be part of that group, first of all, this person needs to understand the needs and ways of thinking of that people and why they think in that way. I consider because it's not so easy just to say, yeah, we're gonna change that, and it's like, wow, why I'm gonna I'm gonna do that if I'm doing this for a long period of time, for years, I don't know. So I consider that first of all we need to understand the group, how the dynamics of the group works, and then in a, how can I say it, in a dynamic way too, try to uh, express the different point of views or ideas that could change a little bit the dynamics. But when people feel um probably identified with the new dynamics, it's going to be easier that they do what you say that is correct or not. So um, it is important to express our ideas clearly, and yeah, try to understand the way of thinking of the group, and with that, try to find a solution. But I don't know, as you mentioned, it's so romantic. I don't know if it's possible in occasions or not. I think that depending of the group, because there are groups that are so close in their ideas that they just reject any other new idea just because it's not part of the group or it's not part of the dynamics that the group is doing.
Right. Let me make a respectful analogy to the work of an auditor. An auditor comes to a company. He's more or less foreign to the company because he's a counselor. He's not a member of the group.
Yeah.
And here he comes, or she comes, or they come, and start telling the group, look, this is right, this is wrong. I don't think that's a good idea. That's a fantastic idea. You guys need to modify this, you guys need to modify that. And then the group internally says, but who is this young man or this young woman that come from somewhere else that had never been here? Who are they to come and tell us what is good and what is bad? Well, no, but they have a set of regulations. Well, yeah, but that set of regulations from another country, from another culture, from another... Well, yeah, but that's something that we need to comply with. Otherwise, we will not be certified. I'm exaggerating the points to make the point, of
Yeah.
course. Uh, but is it not the same in a way? The young people or the experienced people or the counselors come with well-intended, with good intentions, come to a group and propose and motivate change for the better, of course. But so is the guy, the priest or the spy or whoever that is, who comes into the new group and change the behavior of the dynamics of the thieves, right? The young thieves who are stealing the walls from the trespassers. Is it not a little bit the same, Mickey? Is the question.
Yeah, yeah, it is the same. And I have seen that for example, in the same company, there are people uh, who wants to cooperate, and people who just reject the idea that someone else is saying what you need to do. And I have seen those cases more in old people. It's the same, probably because if you see someone of, for example, the other person, a part of my aunt who works with us, he has like 27, 28 years old. In occasions, we just go, me and him, to the companies. Probably when they see us like young people, more the older people, it's like, how is possible that someone of your age is telling me what I need to do? But at the end, they are part of that group, and if the group wants to do the change, they need to do it too, because if not, uh, well, it's like, well, you don't want to cooperate. Okay, there's gonna be someone else that wants to cooperate, and just so yeah, it's the same. Just it's important to express the ideas clearly and express the purpose of why you're gonna do that. In this case, well, if you do that, you're gonna be certified, or you're gonna get a certification of whatever. But yeah.
And yeah, and it's a very, very interesting situation what you just mentioned, and I thank you for sharing this. What can we do to guarantee that, or guarantee, or more or less try to foresee that the changes will not be like a spring? You press a spring, you are in the company, then you go and the spring comes back, right? How can we make sure that that is what happens? In other words, that the spring doesn't operate, that it
Mhm.
is a permanent change and not temporary change only while you are there. Okay, here are the consultants. They made some modifications, they pressed the spring, and they left. Okay, the spring goes back to normal.
Yeah. Um, well, it depends of each company. We have seen companies that, for example, my aunt has been auditing those companies since 3 4 years ago, and they continue working on the certificate on the different certifications, and they do their work. Uh, well, they do a great work, and we have seen cases where the company just do that for the certification passes, and then they come back to the same place. Mm, I think that depends of the culture of the company, because normally for example, I have seen that in the German companies, they continue doing their work. Japanese companies too. In occasions, the American companies, more or less, they do for the certification, and then they left for a while. And then when someone is gonna go to validate that they continue doing that, they always call us again and, hey, we need help to continue with the procedures because we are gonna have a validation in 2 months, or I don't know. But yeah, I think that depends of the culture of the company, and if the directors and the people who is in charge of that is really committed with the follows that the certification requires, you know.
Yeah. Do you think that flexibility that you notice in companies, which is a great thing, that you are able to notice how flexible some companies are, how inflexible some of them are too? Do you think this flexibility has something to do with the, you mentioned, with the culture, with the structure of the company, the way they are built or designed or devised, uh, or is it inherent to something else? Do you believe that they are flexible or inflexible due to the structure, due to the culture, a little bit of this, a little bit of that? For example, why is it that you notice that American companies tend to be a bit more flexible than the German or the Japanese companies? What's your explanation, if you will?
Mm, well, I don't know if all the American companies, but for example, the American companies that I have seen, they have a lot of good things. Normally, the people who works in the American and the German companies, for example, are much happier than the people who works in the Japanese companies. But I think that it's for the same, because normally, for example, the Japanese companies, they are so strict. You can see it since when you go enter to the company, all the people is dressed in the same way. They look like little soldiers, just doing this, and after that. So they have procedures for everything, and I think that people follow and continue with the procedures because the people who is in charge of that, they are always like putting those procedures like in a mandatory thing, I consider. And the other companies are like more flexible. They can go obviously in a respect way, but they can use the dress that they requires appropriate to the work. And yeah, I think that depends of the culture of the company. And in occasions, probably those company needs to force a little bit more to their employees. in those cases, I think.
Right. It makes total sense. I wonder if it would be a good idea for the sake of, there are bodies that certify, there are bodies that give labels, stars. We have talked about this, about hotels, that's a five-star hotel, four-star hotel, three-star hotel. Would it be useful or beneficial or indicative to yeah, helpful for people in general to classify companies so that you do some of this type? Let me uh, make a little table here. So company, and then salary. Uh, then you say working conditions, and then you say satisfaction, worker satisfaction, and then just publish what you think. Company, let's say German, not origin, maybe origin of the company German, was, let's say continental, and then you put German, right? And then salary good or average, working conditions excellent, work satisfaction fine, and then you go to Denso, which is I think Korean or Japanese, I don't know. Average fair, more or less. Working conditions poor, work satisfaction none, of this type, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Without becoming liable to legal prosecution, of course, they're going to say, well, he's giving a bad name to my company. Of course, you would need to check with an attorney. But what do you think of the idea of giving some guidance to the workers? I'm talking about you or anyone, someone who's got the experience or the expertise and this exchange with the companies. Because if you think about it, you're in a fantastic situation in which you're assessing companies, you're evaluating companies, Mickey.
Yeah, well, I'm starting to do that, so I don't have a lot of expertise yet, but yeah, I think that all those sections, salary, working conditions, and work satisfaction, are correlated to the to the effort that people do in their companies. As you mentioned, for example, Continental, it's I don't know exactly all the procedures that they have, but what I have seen, they have good conditions in work. Normally, the people who works in those companies, they have like this facility to speak. So, in a way, I consider that probably they really focus on the development of the people in those companies. And in a way, when the people or the employees see that, they feel like more identified with the company, and in a way they work in a better way in comparison with the companies that, for example, their managers, they, how can I say, like, exigen, I forget it.
Demand.
Yeah, sorry. They demand a lot of things, and probably the salary is not good, the working conditions are bad. That's why there are a lot of rotation too in those companies, because not all people can maintain that level of stress and without really uh, without really have like this reward, in this case the money.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, take a look at OXO. OXO, for example, is a company with one of the highest turnovers that you can see in the industry. I believe their turnover is, I don't know what, a worker every 3, 4 weeks. So the concept that you're mentioning is very crucial, is important. How's the correlation between these parameters? And I'm just suggesting 3 parameters. You can develop a whole matrix in which you establish key parameters for the interest. That sounds almost like a thesis project, right? Like the name of a thesis. What is the correlation between different parameters in the industries, for instance, right? And then you make your research, you take notes. Obviously, you maybe get the permission from the companies to publish the name, or just say company one, right, instead of continental, not to put the name at stake, no, not continental, you say company one, and then somewhere else in an appendix, maybe appendix, you say company one is continental, right? Just for the sake of confidentiality.
Yeah, of course.
And upon request, the tutor or the person who is checking your thesis needs to require it, right? Needs to ask you, okay, show me who is company one, and then you have the file available to show them who company one is, and similar to that. But the issue is that you are the one who can determine the parameters that can be correlated. And you can establish a high or a medium or a low correlation or negative correlation. Uh, that I would say that would be a very interesting work with a very interesting conclusion. I mean, what is the correlation between uh, good salary with worker satisfaction? Of course, must be very high, right?
Yeah, of course.
But other parameters which are not so clear, maybe a very strict and clear guidance when you give the workers a very clear roadmap to where they want to go or to where you want them to go, would that lead necessarily to high worker satisfaction or not? Maybe not. I don't know. People need to do the research. What do you think about this creation of parameters to determine some correlations in industries, Mickey?
Yeah, I consider that it's so important because with those parameters, it's gonna be like easier to understand um, where is the company located. You know, in terms of okay, people is feel satisfied for the good salary, or people don't because probably the working conditions are bad, and in consequence, the people don't feel part of the company, and in consequence, they don't continue with the procedures because they just don't want to do it for the reasons that we found here. So yeah, I think that it's a good idea. Um, I would propose like do that to my aunt. Um, I want to, for example, it's something that is happening, but I know that I have just 2 months and a little bit more work in that. But it's supposed that I'm gonna be focused on the commercialization, so to attract new clients, so to do the different like the budgets that we need to offer to the different companies depending of the amount of people who wants to be part of the audits, or if we want to offer a new course. So I'm gonna focus on that. And what is happening is that I think that I need a little bit more of how can I say this, like training, because yeah, I know in a way how to negotiate, but if I don't have the numbers to play, for example, if someone wants a discount, I don't have like this information, and it's something that is happening apart that I'm doing the things of the auditions and audits, sorry. So I need to really have like more order, and a part of that, what I'm doing on Amazon, on my sneakers page, now with the tour. And though these last 3 weeks, I'm feeling a little bit exhausted, but I want to find an order in all those things and try to keep a balance.
Yeah,
But it's something that I need to do.
very nice. Well, it sounds like you're full of projects and activities, and that is
Yeah,
very nice.
yeah, it is nice, but I need to put everything like in a how to say this. Mm, yeah, well, in balance and see what can I continue and what I cannot continue, and yeah. But I'm happy to be busy. But in occasions, I think that I'm a little bit used to receive like the reward of my work almost instantly, and when that not happens, I feel a little bit frustrated, and it's something that I need to work on that.
Well, if you allow me to say something talking about that you mentioned, please think if it is important to talk about it, to discuss it. I don't know with whom, but you can also change the scheme. I don't know if that is easy to do or not, right? But the rewards, we just said that with the workers, right? Worker satisfaction connected with the income, and that income needs to be either higher or more frequent, or connected with your effort or with your labor recognition. I don't know. There are many ways in which people feel satisfaction with work. Um, in particular, I feel a lot of satisfaction when I see myself as being useful. When I see that what I'm doing is useful for someone, that gives me a lot of satisfaction. But of course, I have my expenses, right? Now my daughters are gone, so I don't have like the money pressure anymore. Thank God, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you are a young man. You are maintaining your car, maybe your personal expenses, maybe you go to the gym, you maybe, well, you have your girl. I mean, you have your expenses, and that's normal. That's everyone does that, right? So who doesn't want to improve their income one way or another? So I fully understand you. But one thing is to say, well, working on that doesn't mean that you need to accept it and swallow it. Maybe the working on that is to friendly and kindly and courteously discuss it with the corresponding person. I don't know who that is, but maybe say, hey, listen, can we have a chat about this? I have a feeling that it's more or less like this. What do you think we can do? I don't know. You are an expert negotiator. I'm sure you can you can do a good job there. But
Yeah.
okay, Micky, yeah, this is a great idea
Thank
that
you.
you can probably. Well, I think this is great. Could be useful.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would like you to take a look at a video. It's very short, but
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I totally love it. Let me show it. Let me find it and share it with you. It takes 1 minute or less. Um I just sent it to my students of the company Laser and GPS, and I'm sure you're gonna find you're gonna find empathy with this video. I just sent it to you here through the chat here, and I'm gonna send it to you to the chat in the WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp here. So here it is.
Thank
I sent it to you there. So if you can please take a look at this video, Mickey, and then we discuss it.
you. Mm-hmm.
Let's see what you think.
Yeah, it's a good video.
Yeah, we've talked about this a number of times. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that it's in a way related to the marketing. For example, the people who studies marketing says that marketing try to feel the satisfactions, the needs and satisfactions of the people, and the people who probably don't study marketing but understand how the market works. In occasions, marketing wants to sell you something that in so many occasions you don't need. And in a way, it affects all the sales procedure because if you want to sell something that probably the other person don't needs, it's gonna be harder that just really found the people who really needs that product or service. And yeah, it is funny how how they do that video and the way how they express, but yeah, it's true.
Yeah, one of the main challenges people have is to determine the needs. how do we determine the needs of an industry, the needs of a company, the needs of a family, the needs of society? Well, some of them are pretty evident. We need more security. Well, that's self-evident, right? We don't need to be a master, or we don't need to be a doctor to determine that Irapuato, Guanajuato needs more security. But some other issues are not so evident. So how could we find out what an industry needs? Well, you make an assessment, you make an evaluation, you make an appraisal, you approach them, and you ask them, what do you need, right? Sometimes that's the easy way to find out. What do you think about this, Mickey? How do we determine or find out what people need? Sometimes if they don't know.
Mm, well, for example, I can in a way relate to the different insurance companies, and I give this example because I have seen that with my mom. And when they have like these meetings, normally are on Zoom or Meet or whatever, but it's online. They do like a big analysis. They ask different questions. They ask, okay, what's your salary? What are your plans for the future? What do you want to do in 10 years, 15 years? Normally, what is your average of expenses per month? In the cases, people don't have that information, but that information gives you like the product that probably you can offer to the people. And in so many cases, they don't know that they need that. For example, if someone, I don't know, per month, this person gets 20,000 pesos per month and expense and per month that the same person expends probably 18,000. Probably that person needs to save for the future because the way of creating of expenses that this person have in a way is like not sustainable. So for example, in these insurances companies, they have this information, and with that information they offer like the product that they think that is the correct. And yeah, but at the end you need to understand the people that you want to sell. For example, is something that I'm doing now too in with the tour. I'm doing Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and in a way I want to do a different advertisement in comparison with the other tour agencies. I have seen the other tour agencies, and the majority are the same. It's just a flyer. And in comparison, I'm doing different videos. I'm doing uh, in a way videos that attracts the attention, and obviously it's easier now because now with Facebook ads you can like configure it. I don't know if it's correct to say
Configure.
configure the pixel of the people who wants to attract their attention. For example, I put people from Irapuato from 18 to 4 years old that is attracted to the Halloween, that wants to see that type of people of that type of activities, and then that information I send to the Facebook, and people in Facebook just direct that advertisements. So so yeah, now it's easier, and I think that it's in a way like more automatized to do it in
Yeah.
comparison in the past, for example.
Right. Now that you mentioned this, and that you're going to be moving to the marketing area of the company, which sounds fabulous, let me talk a little bit about a friend that I got in. He's in Celaya. He's a very smart person. He's not young anymore. He's a bit younger than I am. Maybe he's 53, 54. But he's a very, very smart guy. He's got two talents, which I admire very much from him. He's very down to earth. He's very simple to talk. Opposite to maybe my mom or one of my brothers from time to time. He's not so sophisticated also with he doesn't code the words, right? He's very simple, very down to earth. He will gonna say if this is a cow, he's gonna say this is a cow. If this is a phone, he's very simple. So you get to like him very quickly because he's very simple, very clear, and very transparent. So he's a simple man. He's got a second time. Well, that makes you like him right on. And the second thing is that he is very smart and observant of needs and suppliers. In other words, if he sees a company that needs direction, order, organization, that are a total chaos or total disaster, he's going to say, well, we need a consultant. I'm going to call Juan Edgardo Pacheco's friend, Micky. I'm going to offer him this and that, right? He works on commission, of course, that's his job. For example, recently he asked me if I knew a person who had a clothing factory because he detected that in a company, a car company in Querétaro, a company needed aprons. Aprons are mandiles, right? For disposal, just temporary aprons that would last maybe 1 week or 2 weeks because they didn't want the workers to get full of oil and other wastes. So he says, I'm looking for a manufacturer of clothing or garments. And I told him, look, I have a student of chess who's a young lady that is in Irapuato who has a factory of denim pants and other products. Maybe I can call her and ask her if I can give you her number. And he says, yeah, give it to me. And so I called the lady. I says, hey, listen, lady, my chess student, can I give your number to this young guy? Because he's not so young anymore, he's 53. Can I give your number to this man? He's a friend of mine. He's very serious, very honest, and he's transparent. He wants to sell aprons to a car company in Querétaro. Can I give him your number? Yeah, dude. So they made a connection. They are uh, already producing the sample. They took the sample to Querétaro. The guys liked the sample. The target price was met, and the deal was done, and everybody gained. So I believe that could be a guy that could be a good partner with you. He would be. I think he would make a good partnership with you. He would tell you, "Hey, Mickey or Miguel or whatever." He would tell you, "There is this potential, this possibility. Maybe we can suggest that your company see this client." He knows many people in the car industry, in other industries. In no time, he made friends with the advisor of Coppel, for example. He met him in Sinaloa for some reason, and they became friends overnight. I mean, in 20 minutes, they were already friends. So he's got this uh, talent to talk to people. And you're
Yeah.
going to make a great connection with him. I'm sure that if you get to know him and he gets to know you, you're going to make good chemistry, business wise, and it can be good for both of you. What do you think, Mickey?
Yeah, will be a great idea. Yeah, and more if he's part of the car industry and all stuff. That will be great because actually we were certified. Well, we're still working on that certification that is of Claucto, the cluster automotriz in Guanajuato.
Okay.
So in a way, yeah, we want to offer courses and audits to the companies that are part of the car industry, and you know that here in Guanajuato and back here in general, most of them is in a way related to the car industry. So yeah, that will be great, teacher. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. No, my pleasure. Also, there is, I'm thinking of two prospects. One is an engineer who works in Continental. He was a student here. Maybe Continental is already your client, but if not,
Yeah.
he works there. He's not in the managerial position, but he he was there, and he's a smart guy, and he gets along well with the managers. And the other one is Scheffler. Scheffler,
Hmm.
the wives of two of the managers of these German guys were learning German here. I mean, they had German husbands, but they didn't want to teach them, so they sent them here a long time ago.
Wow, really?
And I think I still have the connection, the names of the ladies. I can ask them if they can allow us or allow you to have an interview with the husbands to see if they
Yes,
can give you a chance there.
that will be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think I can look them up. I'll see if I find them. And this guy in Continental, he works there. But this friend of mine, Victor Hugo is his name. He's a very smart guy, and he could make a good partnership with you.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, sure. That will be great. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'll give him your info, and I let him know that you are doing these audits and that
Mm-hmm. Yes, sure.
can
Thank you.
surely find clients for you guys.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, well, I guess the last question would be let me check the topic here. The last question would be if there is a competition for resources, if groups compete for limited resources, that can also be the case. In other words, you compete for territory, some animals and people also compete to mate, to find a partner, right? To preserve the species. Some people compete for food, for territory. I mean, there are many ways why people compete. So competition is kind of natural in the animal world. So
Yeah.
let's see what we think about this concept of competition for resources. Let's see. Can you please read it, Mickey, and then we discuss it?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna finish in a moment.
Yes, sure. Competition for resources. Groups often compete for limited resources such as jobs, land, or political power. This competition can lead to hostility and rejection of outer groups that are perceived as threats to the group's economic or social standing.
What do you think of this?
Yeah, I think that, well, I'm sure that some occasions groups are created to protect their interest and their integrants too. So, in occasion, that's why some groups reject other groups, like in a way to feel protected because it's something that they don't know. So yeah, that's one of the main reasons why group exist.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Okay, well, Mickey, I know that you have a meeting shortly.
Yes, sure. Don't worry. Thank you
So,
much.
yeah, let's finish here. I owe you 3 minutes, but well, we compensated
Don't worry,
next
teacher.
time.
Thank you very much.
Take care, Mickey. Good to see you and good luck in all your endeavors.
Thank you, teacher. You too. Have an excellent weekend. Take care.
Take care. See you soon. Bye.
See you, teacher. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Take care.